Get our big picture. We're going to go on an adventure and see what you can find in the forecourt here in terms of what is the latest date out there of someone who did that. Also, two performers who are represented by audio animatronics in this attraction have their handprints out here. Two different performers. We'll see as adventurers if you can discover those. I'll tell you after we give you a chance to do that. Around the corner there is actually a sign, a black plaque that says Grauman's Chinese Theater opened in 1928. And you go, oh, shame, shame, Disney. I listened to Jim Korkis, the Disney historian. I know it's 1927. He studied his facts. Why did you put 1928? How could you be so sloppy? How many feet of track are in this attraction? 1,928. That's why it's out there. A little, surprise for you. Now, some handprints and footprints never made it out into the forecourt or only made it out for a brief period of time. For instance, Lonnie Anderson. She was only out here for a brief period of time. Why? Because unlike me, who is the size that Drew Carey used to be, Lonnie Anderson is very slight. And so she made a very slight imprint into the cement. So when it rained, it got very slippery. So as people walked across, they were constantly slipping on Lonnie Anderson. Lonnie Anderson had to go. That's it. You're out of here, Lonnie. Now, let's talk a little bit about what we're also going to see in the ride, because now, instead of just riding this ride, because I'm sure some of you have ridden the Great Movie Ride before. A couple of times, right?
Once or twice.
Yes, well, I thought that might be the case. I could see that look of, oh yes, is this the one that has Gene Kelly in it? Yes. All right. We're going to look at it from the viewpoint of adventurers. All right? So the types of films that were in there, of course, the musicals, and of course the Busby Berkeley musical in there. If some of you are old enough, you remember that once upon a time, that was actually a turntable that turned until that broke. Some of you might even remember that Gene Kelly had an open umbrella until water hit it and splattered people, yes, as they were going across through there. And as you get into the gangster area, you know that the two gangsters that pop up, Squint and Beans, are actually audio animatronic characters from Pirates of the Caribbean. So take a look at them closely. You notice that when the car comes out, on its license plate, which again is above the fender, it's the date of the Valentine's Day Massacre, 02/14/29. As that goes through, you'll notice that a true hidden Mickey. I know all of you are seeing hidden Mickeys all over the place. I wonder how many minutes it's going to take before you start to see hidden Mickeys in the Congaloosh material. But the hidden Mickeys were not always meant to be three circles. The hidden Mickeys were literally to be an image of Mickey so that he was playing in that attraction. He was joining you in that attraction. So as you go through, on the left-hand side, you'll notice under the Jimmy Cagney Public Enemy poster, there's the foot and the shoe of Mickey Mouse. Next to that, of course, is the poster of Edward G. Robinson, but you notice his name is scraped off because we couldn't get the rights to use his name. And a lot of the other posters scraped off because it's from his Warner Brothers gangster movie, and we didn't have the rights to Warner Brothers. In 1985, Disney negotiated with MGM and UA to get the rights to 250 films. Now, some films had to be negotiated separately, like Wizard of Oz, Singing in the Rain, James Bond. That's why you don't see an extensive use of that. In the Western scene, you realize that it's not supposed to be Clint Eastwood. It was designed to be Lee Marvin from Cat Ballou on that horse leaning against the side of the building. His family did not want that. He did not want him to be remembered that way. In fact, Jimmy Cagney, you'll notice he's wearing a tux. He doesn't in Public Enemy, but his family didn't want him to be in those scrubby clothes, so they gave us actually one of Jimmy Cagney's tuxedos that he's wearing in there.
Wow.
Clint Eastwood is in there because he is a friend of Michael Eisner's. Michael Eisner, when Lee Marvin crashed and burned, Lee Marvin literally just said, go ahead and make an audio animatronic of Clint Eastwood. And Disney Legal went apoplectic. You know, oh my gosh, we don't have the signed releases, things like, oh, I know that, I know that, I know that. So what happened is they would put a bag over the head of that character until they brought Clint Eastwood down, and Eisner was taking him through the ride. They removed the bag, and there's Eastwood, and Eastwood goes, oh, that looks good. And that signed off. A lot of effort to get Gene Kelly to sign off on his image. They had to take him out to a lot of dinners to finally get him to agree to that. The John Wayne figure over there, on some websites you'll read that the belt buckle is authentic. Actually, the belt buckle was authentic. It was from the movie Red River. It got stolen. It's in somebody's collection now. So that's a replica. However, what is real is if you look on John Wayne's wrist, there's a band. That's a band that Wayne got in Vietnam when they were working on the Green Berets. And so that is real, and that is from the Wayne estate. That is in there. As you go through there, and you'll notice the sign that says Ransom Stoddard, Attorney at Law. That of course refers to Jimmy Stewart's character in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. But you know the sheriff up there in the balcony who keeps popping up? Well, you should stand up and salute, because that of course is Thomas Jefferson from the Hall of Presidents. He is up there shooting those bank robbers for you, so you should enjoy that. Now, there's a lot of things in the ride you're not going to be able to see clearly. For instance, if you're not sitting on the left-hand side, you won't be able to look down and see the monitors running with all the Imagineers' names and the Coca-Cola bottle caps that are put on the spacesuits. One of the things that you won't be able to see is as you transition from Casablanca into Fantasia, on the ground they had different colors of gold paint. You won't be able to see that, because I just went through twice to see if, even if leaning out to the side and, you know, if the wind is right, you won't be able to see it. Because again, that was all going to be the Wizard of Oz. So instead of Fantasia, that was going to be, you were in the hurricane, you were in the tornado being taken to Oz, and you'd see the witch and the cow flying past and all of that. However, Turner charged us by the minute for the use of Wizard of Oz, so that scene got cut. Right before that scene is Casablanca, probably my favorite movie of all time. You'll notice there's a scrim in front of it. The reason for that is to create the illusion of fog, especially if you take a picture. It'll get that fog. In real life, Humphrey Bogart was shorter than Ingrid Bergman, so they adjusted him so he's a little taller. You'll notice that Humphrey Bogart talks, but Ingrid Bergman doesn't, because we couldn't get rights from Ingrid Bergman's family to let her talk. Now, the plane in there is from Warner Brothers. It is from the studio at the same time period that Casablanca was being made, but it was not the plane from Casablanca. But it was there, according to the serial number, it was there on the Warner's lot. It was used in Warner's films. The back end of that plane is where? Jungle Cruise. The Jungle Cruise, which you will be able to see tomorrow with my good friend Lou Mongello, who will have lots of secrets and stories for you at the Jungle Cruise. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, right? Dole Whip. Dole Whip. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, Dole Whip, Jungle Cruise. So you get part of the story today, you get the other part of it tomorrow, as that goes through. In the Tarzan scene there, you have Maureen O'Sullivan up there on the elephant. The elephant's ears are huge. In the real motion picture, the ears were short because it was an Indian elephant, so they had to put fake ears on it, so it looked like an African elephant. Cheetah, of course, there outlived both Johnny Weissmuller and Maureen O'Sullivan. Good for Cheetah. Bananas. That's my advice to you. Bananas and water for a long life. And monkey around. Bananas and water and monkey around. It's a long life for you. So anyway, you go in through Wizard of Oz there, and of course at the time the Witch was the most advanced audio animatronic that Disney had ever created. had what was called compliance, which means that as the figure moves, there's a little give, so it seems realistic. You know, it's not just stiff like a robot, there's a give, there's compliance as that goes through. Now, as we leave that, and we see the scene of Dorothy and the Tin Man and all that heading towards Oz, you realize, of course, that the voice of Dorothy is being done by Liza Minnelli, Judy Garland's daughter. And if you look beyond her, if you look at the backdrop, down towards the lower left, you'll see 3 globes. Actually, they're sort of dome-like, but the last one looks sort of like a globe. It's an O, and right next to it on the backdrop is the Golden Road to Oz, and it's in the shape of a Z. So it's a hidden Oz. Those of you who like to find hidden Mickeys, all that, these, so are your minds going woo at this particular point? Okay. So I wish I had prizes for you. I didn't, other than a hearty handshake and the thanks of your friends. But what I'd like you to do right now is go and take a look, because I'll bet some of you didn't.
But before you do that,
we're going to take the picture?
Let everybody know where they need to go tonight, how they need to get out.
Come on up and tell us.
All right.